A pattern of collapse is emerging within the Russian military. Social media is flooded with videos of surrendering soldiers. Nearly 600 Russian prisoners captured in the Kursk Oblast. These surrenders represent a significant degradation of morale. Events in Donetsk indicate a deeper crisis. Commanders neutralized by their own troops units capitulating. This analysis will detail the mass surrender events of the war. We examine the underlying causes driving this trend and assess the strategic implications for Russia's capacity. August 28, 2025 Russian units pushed toward the Pokrovsk highway, advancing 10 kilometers into Ukrainian-held territory in the Donetsk Oblast. The objective was to sever critical Ukrainian supply lines and establish a forward base to threaten the Pokrovsk hub. This rapid advance extended Russian forces beyond their support, leaving their flanks vulnerable to attack. Ukrainian command identified this overextension as an opportunity. Ukraine launched a multi-pronged counteroffensive. Elements of the 82nd Air Assault Brigade participated, along with the 93rd Mechanized Brigade and the 1st Azov Special Purpose Corps. Their operation was not a frontal assault, but a series of rapid flanking maneuvers, using FPV drones for reconnaissance and anti-armor strikes, coordinated artillery barrages, and fast-moving infantry assault groups. The Russian advance aimed to threaten Pokrovsk. Their rapid push stretched their supply lines thin. Ukrainian command saw a tactical opportunity. A multi-pronged counteroffensive was launched. It was not a frontal assault, but flanking maneuvers. Coordinated artillery supported the assault. Ukrainian forces reclaimed Panakivka and Vulorovka. By September 5th, Russian troops were trapped. They were cut off from reinforcement or retreat. The encirclement was complete. Ukraine transitioned to psychological operations. Drones broadcast surrender instructions in Russian. Leaflets outlined safe conduct procedures. Psychological pressure and dwindling supplies took their toll. The constant threat of drone and artillery strikes. By mid-September, the largest group began to capitulate. Hundreds emerged with hands raised. Weapons were abandoned. Combat operations were temporarily halted. The tactical outcome was decisive. Over 1,100 Russian soldiers were killed in action. 206 killed, 73 wounded, 38 captured in 72 hours. Ukrainian forces seized Russian military hardware, including T-80 tanks, BMP-3S, and D-30 howitzers. A potent symbol of Ukrainian resilience. Operations in the immediate sector were temporarily halted. This pause was to process the influx of prisoners of war. The tactical outcome of this operation proved decisive. Ukrainian sources reported over 1,100 Russian soldiers killed. 206 Russian personnel killed in an intense 72-hour period. 73 wounded and 38 captured prior to the main surrender. Ukrainian forces seized a significant amount of Russian hardware. This operation pushed the front line back significantly. It served as a potent symbol of crumbling Russian morale, turning a priority offensive into a strategic disaster. The surrender at Donetsk was a psychological capitulation, demonstrating the vulnerability of offensive operations. When logistical and moral factors are neglected, prior to Donetsk, a breakdown in command occurred near Chazar. Around July 19, 2025, an order was issued to conduct a frontal assault. The unit's soldiers assessed the order as suicidal. Ukrainian drone assets were active overhead. Their artillery was pre-sighted on the exposed approach route. The assault was planned with no armored or fire support. The platoon commander threatened execution for insubordination. The unit's cohesion fractured completely. In an act of open mutiny, soldiers turned their weapons on their commander. The entire unit advanced towards Ukrainian lines with weapons lowered. Ukrainian troops accepted their surrender without incident, provided immediate medical aid to the wounded, and secured the prisoners. The platoon's action was not mere disobedience, but a calculated choice. Faced with a suicidal charge, they chose a third option: surrender. Using pre-established signals, they contacted Ukrainian forces. Ukrainian troops, having monitored communications, accepted their surrender. The prisoners were secured, marking the end of the incident. Chazar is a vital defensive bastion for Ukraine. Its capture is a primary objective for Russian forces. The mutiny sent shockwaves through the Russian command structure. Russian state media framed it as an isolated breakdown of discipline. Intercepted radio traffic revealed widespread panic and anger. It was a significant psychological victory for Ukraine. Ukraine rapidly incorporated the details into its psychological operations. The incident demonstrated that the fear of incompetent command could outweigh the fear of the enemy. Even loyalist formations could disintegrate under extreme pressure. Mass surrenders are not a recent phenomenon. The assault column ran into dense Ukrainian minefields. Ukrainian drones swarmed the stalled formation. Tanks, armored personnel carriers, and infantry squads were destroyed. Entire platoons began emerging, waving white flags. Language barriers led to a friendly fire incident. North Korean fighters engaged a Chechen Akhmat unit, triggering a chaotic retreat. The assault column faced a catastrophic setback. Ukrainian minefields immobilized lead vehicles. Drones swarmed, destroying tanks and personnel. Poor performance of foreign contingents compounded this. 8 fatalities triggered a chaotic retreat. Ukrainian forces achieved success in the Kursk region. They surrounded a fortified underground command bunker. Over 100 Russian soldiers emerged and surrendered. Psychological isolation broke the defenders' will. Ukrainian special forces conducted a daring cross-border raid, employing light vehicles and extensive drone support. They bypassed defenses and sealed escape routes. Leaflets and loudspeaker broadcasts encouraged surrender. The operation resulted in the capture of over 1,000 troops. This included fighters from the Chechen Akhmat unit. Russian propaganda portrayed them as an elite force. Videos shattered their myth of invincibility, delivering a severe blow to Russian morale. Ukraine's drone warfare is eroding Russian combat effectiveness. Psychological vulnerabilities were exposed during the Kursk offensive. The rapid advance left Russian units completely disoriented. Ukraine recaptured over 12,000 square kilometers, including strategically important territories. The psychological vulnerabilities within the Russian army were exposed. Akhmat fighters' invincibility myth was shattered online. Minefields further degrade Russian combat capability. Psychological operations target Russian soldiers' willpower. Kursk counter-offensive Ukraine's rapid blitz advance. Ukraine recaptured over 12,000 square kilometer of territory. Key logistical hubs like Balakleya were liberated. The Russian front did not bend, it shattered completely. Formations disintegrated soldiers, abandoned equipment. Modern T-90 tanks were among the abandoned hardware. Vast stockpiles of ammunition were left behind. Many fled in civilian clothing to evade capture. Others simply walked away from the battlefield. The offensive induced panic and systemic lack of coordination. An organized retreat turned into a full-scale rout. Ukraine launched the "I Want to Live" hotline, a secure process for Russian soldiers to surrender. The program gained traction after the Kursk offensive. Surrender became a viable and survivable option. Thousands have since utilized this surrender channel. The offensive established a psychological blueprint. Russian forces prone to catastrophic loss of morale. Fields littered with abandoned Russian hardware. An army poorly supplied and unwilling to fight. This collapse foreshadowed recurring patterns of surrender.